you search a passenger for marijuana? My name is Anthony Bandiero, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing you the roadside chat. This scenario comes up constantly. And I can refer back to prior videos, but I just want to keep the conversation going. Look, here's what we have. We have an officer working in a state where marijuana, to some degree, is still illegal, okay? I think it's Minnesota, right? So we stop a vehicle lawfully. Upon speaking with the occupants, you smell the strong odor of marijuana. I like the word strong. That's good. You ask common questions or trying to move forward with the probable cause, right? So you have reasonable suspicion that they may be violating the law. So you're asking questions. Then you develop probable cause for the vehicle. You get the occupants to exit the vehicle. Can you search the occupants prior to searching the vehicle, or do you have to wait? Furthermore, let's say that you do locate some narcotics in the vehicle, and apparently that's what the smell was coming from. Can you still search the passengers or the occupants, or are you done? Finally, what if you feel like they do have evidence on them, but there's really no realistic opportunity for them to destroy the evidence because there is a lot of people around them? What do we do now? Can we retrieve the evidence in order to cite and release them and so forth, all right? And he also goes into, in Minnesota, marijuana in wax form versus leaf form, et cetera, et cetera. But let me just kind of get this down to business. Look, the first thing I want to share with you is that the motor vehicle exception does not cover people, okay? That is a Supreme Court case called U.S. versus DeRye, 1948. So just make sure that when we talk about searching people based on probable cause for a motor vehicle, you need something more. You need something called a nexus. The nexus is, why do you believe, right, that this particular person would have evidence on them? If you don't have anything besides, well, they're in the car, that means they get searched. That's making bad case law. Try that in court and tell me how it works. In most courts, it ain't going to fly. So tell me why, okay? Where did the dog hit? Their abnormal nervousness, their prior history, what they are saying to you. Things like, you're not going to find drugs in that car. Maybe that's, read between the lines. That's saying that maybe the drugs are on them. Also, I want to let you know that searching the driver is almost never an issue because there's this idea, this presumption that they have control over the contents. Therefore, if you have probable cause for the car, contraband, oftentimes you can make the leap, the connection that they are also in on it. They may have more evidence. These cases aren't usually about the drivers. The cases are about the passengers. So, okay, now let's talk about, what if you do find evidence in the car? Does that mean that we can no longer search the passengers? No, because depending on where you found the evidence, what you found, the character of it, again, what the passengers are saying, what their criminal history is, maybe you can actually now still believe that there's more evidence of the crime on their person, right? So finding it in the car does not mean you're done with the occupants. It actually may help you search the occupants. And finally, look, this whole idea that what if we have a lot of cops on scene, right? Does that mean we can no longer, detain or retrieve the evidence? So no, what you have to articulate is, do you believe there is an opportunity for them to destroy, manipulate, consume the evidence? If that's possible, based off of the facts and circumstances on scene, then talk about that and so forth. The other thing is, a lot of states that still have marijuana as an illegal substance, they allow cops to cite and release. Well, you are allowed to do a limited search to retrieve that contraband in order to release them from the scene. It is not a full search incident to arrest, because there's no arrest, so we're not going to call it that. It is a limited search when it's for evidence that is readily destructible, right? In order to recover it and release them. If you're like, okay, Anthony, what happens if I thought that they had marijuana on them, whatever form it's prohibited? and I reach into their pockets and try to recover the evidence, and now I find methamphetamine. Now I got to arrest them. Am I going to be? Did I just ruin that? Because my intention was not to arrest them when I recovered when I was trying to recover the marijuana. No, that would be a lawful search, and if you found other evidence, then you go from there. If you have to arrest them, you end up arresting them, and now you actually have a full search incident to arrest. I think the reason why this topic is just really so confusing, one of it is because there's no Supreme Court case on this very issue, and I wish that there was. It's one of the great conundrums out there, right? What do we do when we want to recover evidence, but yet we know from case law that we can't just do a search incident to arrest when we're not planning to arrest them? The good case there is Knowles, right? Knowles. The Supreme Court, even if you have an arrestable offense, if you don't intend to arrest people, then you don't get this search incident to arrest. So I guess it's almost like called a search incident to citation, but you don't get a search into citation unless you have probable cause that there is destructible evidence that can be destroyed or and not destroyed necessarily like small little rocks. It could also be shoplifting evidence that can be destroyed and removed by the time you came back for a warrant. If you let these guys go and try to serve a warrant on them later, it doesn't, the point is the courts are going to give you some latitude here to recover that evidence on scene in order to let them go. These questions come up a lot. One day we'll have a Supreme Court case that really lays down the doctrine in a concise way, but until then I have to pull from these other cases and explain to you what the courts are considering. I hope I've helped you at least a little bit. I hope I've helped you make good case law and get it right every time. Thank you. Hit like, subscribe, comment. It really helps the channel. See you next time.